Welcome to the Final Fantasy XIV's White Mage Guide. This guide will be looking at the various abilities of a White Mage from levels 1 through 80, up until the main story quest titled Shadowbringers. Without further ado, let's get started. On any class or job, there are 3 different tiers of abilities, or groupings of abilities. There are actions, there are roles, and there are traits. Actions are your main classes and or jobs, spells, and abilities. Most classes will complete a quest at level 30, unlocking their respective jobs. Your conjurer will then receive the Soul Stone of the White Mage, a semi-permanent item equipped in the Soul Crystal slot, granting access to the job's abilities. Stone is the very first ability that you will achieve simply for being a conjurer. This ability allows you to do damage to a single target. Cure is your first bread and butter healing spell at level 2. Arrow is your first damage over time ability. This ability is basically set it and forget it until you have to recast it again. This will do damage as you're doing other abilities. Repose is your first role ability obtained at level 8, which will allow you to put enemies to sleep for 30 seconds. However, not all enemies have the ability to be put to sleep. Medica is an ability obtained at level 10. It is your first AoE healing ability. With this, you can heal multiple targets at the same time for one cast. Also obtained at level 10 is another role ability called Asylum, which will remove one detrimental effect such as a burn, a poison, a burden, and other various debuffs that a player or yourself might obtain. At level 12, you'll receive the ability called Raise, which takes approximately 1/4 of your mana, but revives a fallen party member. At level 15, you'll be able to go to your class trainer and receive a quest to be able to be sent out, and upon completing this quest, you gain the ability Fluid Aura. This allows you to bind a target in place. Upon reaching level 18, you'll receive the trait called Stone Mastery, which will automatically upgrade Stone 1 to Stone 2. Stone 2 will automatically take the spot of Stone 1 on your action bar. Furthermore, you'll also receive the Roll ability called Swift Cast, which will allow your next non-instant spell to be cast at instant speed. This is extremely useful of a cooldown. At level 20, you'll receive Maim and Mend 1. This trait allows you to increase both the damage and healing abilities done to a permanent increase of 10%. At level 24, you'll receive Lucid Dreaming, a role ability. This ability allows you to regenerate your mana over time, should be used on cooldown whenever possible, and combos great with the next ability named Cure 2, which will be obtained at level 30. This ability is obtained through yet another quest, so in order to be able to get this, you would have had to done the quest for Fluid Aura and continued that chain. Also obtained at level 30 is Presence of Mind. This allows you to cast your spells relatively quicker than you normally would, and it's also obtained through a quest. At level 32, you'll receive Free Cure. It's a trait. You'll have 15% chance after every Cure 1 to get a 15-second buff. During that buff's time, all the MP that's required for a Cure 2 spell, a single Cure 2 spell, will be 0. At level 35, you'll receive the ability called Regen, which is your first heal over time ability, or Hot, and this is as the ability sounds, will heal a target over time. This also requires you to complete a quest prior to achieving this ability. At level 40, you'll receive the trait called Maim and Mend 2. This is an upgrade over the first one, and instead of doing 10% increased damage and healing, you'll now do 30% increased damage and healing. Furthermore, you'll receive, after completing a quest, Cure 3, which is an AoE heal ability. However, this ability requires party members to stack or be close together. At level 44, you'll receive a roll ability called Surecast. This allows you to cast your next spell without being interrupted. This also includes nullifying knockbacks and or pull-ins. Furthermore, this is useful for avoiding pesky mechanics on some bosses. At level 45, after completing a class quest, you receive the ability called Holy. This is an AoE damage and stun effect. If used in multiple successions, the stun can and will be resisted. At level 46, you'll receive another trait called Arrow Mastery. This upgrades your arrow from Arrow 1 to Arrow 2, and you'll also receive the ability Arrow 2, a more potent and more damaging effect than the previous arrow. At level 48, you'll receive the role quest ability called Rescue. This allows you to pull a targeted party member to your current location. There are some limitations, as in if the targeted party member has the status Burden, you cannot pull them to you. At level 50, you'll be given the ability Medica 2. This is an improvement, but not a replacer for Medica 1, as this ability will allow you to regen and AoE at the same time. While Medica 2 may seem like a replacement for Medica 1, it's important to understand that having Medica 1 on your bar during AoE damage can be useful. If you fire off Medica 2, you'll not only be given the heal from Medica 2 and the regen effect, but with Medica 1, you'll be able to cast this if people are spread out and still heal them without draining your mana source and without having to recast multiple times the regen effect that's already on a previous party member. After completing the final Realm Reborn quest, i.e. level 50 quest, you'll receive Benediction. This is an all-in-one, oh my god, healing button for emergency single target healing. This is an extremely useful ability if used proper timing. It will conserve a ton of mana while guaranteeing that the tank and or party member that you currently have targeted does not fall in battle. Upon achieving level 52 and completing the class quest, you'll receive a trait that allows you to start accumulating lilies, called Secret of the Lily. Furthermore, you'll receive an Afflatus Solus ability, which is an instant heal, which allows you to generate lilies up to a maximum of 3. Furthermore, if you complete yet another quest, you receive Asylum, a targetable ground AoE, which allows people to stand in it and be healed over time. Welcome to level 54. Upon completing yet another quest, you receive the trait called Stone Mastery 2, upgrading your Stone 2 to Stone 3. Furthermore, you'll receive the ability Stone 3. Level 56, after completing the quest, unlocks a Size. This is an instant AoE heal, restores approximately 5% of your mana, and damages all nearby enemies. This ability should, most likely, be used on cooldown whenever you're in battle, not only to conserve mana and gain it back, but also to do damage and heal instantaneously. Level 58 introduces another quest, and upon completing that quest, allows you to gain the ability Thin Air, which for the next 12 seconds, all your spells will be free of mana. This is great in the event that you're going to continuously DPS, and you have time to fire off damaging spells, or you need to blow through a bunch of Cura 2s, and you don't want to take up your mana pool to do so. Level 60 introduces an ability like Benediction. However, it does not heal the target for 100% of their health. However, it is a large heal and can be used once per minute versus the Benediction that is only allowed to be used once every 3 minutes. So you can fire off 3 of these instant cast large heals for free while continuing your healing rotation. I use the words healing rotation very loosely, as healers do not have an actual rotation, but instead a best button fits the scenario. What I mean by this is that if a target has been damaged for little hit points, it's probably best to use something like Cure to cure them back up, instead of Cure 2, which would essentially overheal them. Moving on to level 64, we gain the trait Stone Mastery 3, upgrading our Stone 3 to Stone 4, giving us the ability to use Stone 4. Level 66, we gain the ability Divine Benediction. This allows us to place a barrier around a single target, allowing them to take extra damage from that shield. Normally this ability is placed on a tank to prevent a tank buster like ability. Upon reaching level 70, we'll complete our last class/job quest. This will allow us to have Plenary Indulgence, which is fixed from Stormblood. This ability is now useful. Upon using this ability and firing an AoE off, an AoE heal, it'll allow that heal to tick yet again. So you'll get 2 for the price of 1 as long as you've used this ability prior to that AoE. Level 72 introduces a trait called Arrow Mastery 2, further upgrading Arrow 2 to what is now known as Dia. Dia will not only hit initially harder, it'll allow for more damage over time because the spell duration is longer as well. Much like Arrow Mastery 2, we're also going to receive Stone Mastery 4. This upgrades Stone 4 to what is now known as Glare, a harder hitting version of the previous ability. At level 74, we'll receive a trait called Transcendent Afflatus. This ability allows us to grow a Blood Lily. Blood Lily is used for the damaging ability Afflatus Misery, which we will also receive at level 74. This is an AoE damaging ability that will decrease 10% after each target it initially hits. For example, the first target will receive 100% damage, the next will receive 10% less, the next will receive 20% less, so on and so forth, until we get to 50% less, in which case that is the cap. It should be noted that until you hit level 76, the only way to spend lilies, which you can accumulate a total of 3 of them at a time, is to use Afflatus Solace, which is an instant single target heal. However, upon hitting level 76, we will receive the ability Afflatus Rapture. This is an AoE ability to allow you to use those lilies and generate your Blood Lily. At level 78, we're granted with our final trait. This allows us to enhance Asylum. Anyone standing in the area of Asylum now gains a 10% increase from healing abilities. Now I'm not sure if that's just White Mage healing abilities, or if that's all healing abilities. Congratulations on hitting level 80. You now receive the ability called Temperance. This gives you wings! Yes, wings. Your damage and party damage taken is now reduced by 10%. Furthermore, your healing output is now increased by 20%. So for the next 20 seconds, go crazy.